Hi everyone, I'm Karina Michelle and you're watching episode 1 of What's Streaming. Basically, the show is going to go like this. It's super basic, by the way. I'm going to watch movies, and if I like them, I'm going to recommend them to you. And I'm going to give you about like 10 reasons why you should watch them. So if you have any interest in all, if you are addicted to Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu like me, then please stay tuned. Okay, you guys, the first movie I'm going to recommend to you is available through Amazon Instant Video, and it is called Tale of Tales. And it is not Amazon Prime. You know, you can't stream it for free, which sucks. You do have to rent it or you do have to buy it. But if you are a fan of anything that's sort of like Pan's Labyrinth, then I really suggest you spend the money and at least rent this movie. It stars Salma Hayek, John C. Reilly, Vincent Cassel, and Toby Jones, just to name a few. This movie is based off the Pentamerone, which is a book of different fairy tales that was written in the 17th century. And they are dark, they are twisted, and they are amazing. They're so much fun. So what's so great about Tale of Tales? It features 3 stories about 3 different families, and they are awesome on their own, even though there's no immediate connection between the 3. So the first story is about a queen who is absolutely desperate to have a child. The second story is about a king who falls in love with a woman just by hearing the sound of her voice. And the third story is about sort of a bored king who now has to begin the process of finding a suitor for his daughter. What I love most about this movie is that while these 3 stories seem kind of separate from each other, each of them on their own are engaging, are haunting, are interesting, and are visually stunning, even though they do seem very separate from one another, and you're kind of just waiting for everything to tie together at the end. What I also found interesting about this film is that there are no heroes in this movie. I found myself sitting there and rooting for nobody, and that's kind of odd nowadays in film. But each character has giant flaws that are so obvious and so hard to ignore that you find yourself on nobody's team. These stories are dark and twisted, and they have imagery that is really unsettling and will stick with you long after this movie is over. You might hear the word fairy tale and be like, maybe I'll watch this with my kid. Please do not do that. I beg of you, do not do that, because I feel like this movie could be borderline traumatizing to them. I mean, some of this imagery is just sick, and even I found myself having to get up and go to the kitchen just to get a glass of water, just so I can get away from what was going on the screen. I mean, even as grown adults now, I'm pretty sure you can recall at least one memory of like watching a movie with either mom or dad, probably dad, I mean, let's be honest, where you were kind of feeling like, hey, I don't think I should be watching this. I'm gonna go to bed and I'm gonna have nightmares about this. And I actually remember that movie from my childhood. It was called Sleep Stalker, and Dad, why the heck did you let me watch that movie? And for months after that I was like, no, he's gonna come get me in my sleep. So definitely this could be that movie for one of your kids, so please do not watch it with them. This is no fairy tale for them to enjoy. It is dark, it is twisted, it is meant for adults. Overall, this movie is so weird, but in a fantastically great sort of way. So if you have the time, please check it out. It is called Tale of Tales once again, and it is available through Amazon Instant Video. Alright you guys, the next movie I'm going to recommend to you is available on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, it's totally free. If you know your friend's email and password, then it's totally free too. But it is called The Resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts. And his name is legendary now. If you don't know who he is, he's that guy who had that gimmick where he would throw the bag over his shoulder and in the bag would be a live snake. So what this documentary is basically Jake's journey back to health that shows him dealing with his addiction, his depression, his drug use, and ultimately feeling like his greatest moments were behind him and the only thing he had to hold on to now was his memories and his past. Very sad stuff. But with the help of Diamond Dallas Page, he is able to start on a road to recovery, and it is absolutely amazing the way it happens. Honestly, sometimes this movie did feel like a giant push for DDP's program, DDP Yoga, but honestly, I didn't even care. Like, I was all for DDP Yoga at the end of this. I mean, did you watch that video that DDP released about that war veteran that was using his program paired with an acoustic version of Coldplay's Fix You in the back? It is truly inspirational, and if you have not checked that out, I will leave that link in the bio. Diamond Dallas Page was also a wrestler in WWF and also WCW, and when he saw the condition that his former mentor was in, he knew that he had to act fast. He invited him into his home and watched over Jake, and paired with his program, he was able to put Jake on a journey back to health. I mean, you don't even have to be a fan of wrestling to enjoy this documentary, because at its soul, the documentary is about redemption. But I think that if you are a wrestling fan, you're gonna love this documentary because it takes you back to those matches that you remember watching watching. It shows you footage from the match where Jake the Snake brought out the King Cobra and it gnawed on Macho Man's arm. And it also takes you back to the moment where Diamond Dallas Page looked as if he was going to join NWO, only to deliver a diamond cutter to Kevin Nash. This is a documentary that'll make you want to laugh, that'll make you want to cry, that'll make you feel sad, that'll make you feel super nostalgic, but it is a true story about redemption and it is a true story about friendship. I highly recommend this documentary to everyone. Alright you guys, that's it. Those are my 2 recommendations. If you saw something recently that you think I should check out, leave it down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!